Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome, and we can get everyone's attention. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. I'm Jeff Waltman, Council President. I'm going to be very brief. I'm going to lead us through the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and then I'm going to introduce our Honorable Mayor for some welcoming remarks. So if you could please stand up and join me, and we're going to pledge to the flag. And thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to welcome to the podium the Honorable Mayor of the City of Reading, Mr. Eddie Moran.
Thank you, Council President. Good morning, everyone. Buenos días a todos. I started to embrace reality, so excuse me. Something I'm not used to very often, so I'm sorry I was not quite prepared for that. I did have a couple of remarks that I'd like to share with you all today. Es un honor, un placer, un privilegio estar aquí hoy. It's an honor and privilege to be here with you today. Let me start off by saying, happy birthday, Reading. You know, don't we look good for 274 years old? I am highly honored and privileged to speak to you on this momentous occasion in the history of the city of Reading. In a few minutes, you will hear our plans for a huge celebration in 2023 for the 275th anniversary of our great city of Reading. But I cannot leave aside the fact that today we are 274th. As elected officials of this great city of Reading, it is foremost our duty to serve you, the citizens, and elevate our city of any chance we get. The good always supersedes the evil. And believe it, we are a unique, extraordinary, amazing city, to say the least. Regardless of what challenges the future holds, Reading has and should always look at its history for guidance to hold. Reading has and should always look at it and cut a path forward into the future. Today, our city faces challenges unique to this era. We've all been listening to the news. And for that, I'm going to ask you at this moment, so let's give just a moment of silence for the challenges that we currently face today. Thank you. However, the difference and the advantage today is that we have 274 years of experience to know that whatever obstacles may rise, we are up to the challenge. We're not quitters. We're not going to give up. We care about our history. We care about our city. We were incorporated into the present and should never discard the history that we have had. We are a center of innovation, talent development, small businesses force, athletic producers, and sports aficionados, world tourism at its best, international cuisine, and so much more, to say the least. We won't stop until the entire world knows about the great history and what Reading is good about, not just a place in the Monopoly game. My vision is that the Reading, and I will quote from my speech in my inaugural speech, where I said, we will be a city where dreams of every child, every worker, every veteran, every senior, every one of our neighbors will come true. That we will become a role model for other cities as we take great pride in becoming a thriving metropolis where anyone can live, learn, work, and play. And we will accomplish it. From military base refugees during war times to hosting one of the most diverse and ethnic mixed populations, probably of the entire country. From the mega constructions of the most ambitious railroad projects in the country, to becoming the fourth most populous city in the Commonwealth. From developing weapons, cannons, and ammunition, to hitting baseballs over a baseball stadium, a hockey field, and a basketball court. We belong here. We will not leave. Our story is far from over, and we are proud to say that Reading, Pennsylvania is our home, our heart. Thank you so much, and let the celebration begin. Thank you.
Everyone, please welcome Mr. History of Berks County, George Miser IX. His middle initial should be H for history.
I've often been told that I'm the leading historian of Berks County, and I'd like to say that I got there by attrition. Looking ahead to Reading's 275th anniversary commemoration, with a look back to 1898 and later celebrations. Preliminarily, I'd like to express my appreciation for being invited to this preparatory gathering leading up to the events formulated for the city's 275th birthday celebration. For what it's worth, I'd like to note that I've been a part of the past commemorations, not the one in 1898 though, beginning with the 200th in 1948, at which time I participated in the school parade representing Charles S. Foose Elementary School. Let's hear for Charles Foose. That summer, I participated in the Reading Playground Parade representing Bear Park. In 1998, Reading's 250th Anniversary Committee was formed, which included Paula Flippen, Celebration Coordinator, William G. Koch, CPA, Treasurer, Emily Richardson, I'm sure some of us remember Emily, Liaison to the City of Reading, Victor Yarnell, Member at Large, and Cynthia Kaufman, Assistant Celebration Coordinator. Albert R. Boskov was Chairman, and Terry R. Connor and I were co-chairman. Albert made so much work in the city of Reading. I don't know how many of you are fully aware of that. Quick little story. In 1983, several of us were sitting around the big table at the Historical Society in the back, and I said, you know, that next year will be the 150th anniversary of the Reading Railroad, at one time the largest corporation on the face of the earth. I think that something should be done, and they all agreed. Paula Flippen, who was the spark plug for so much. Paula was the one with the ideas, and Albert made it work, always. We thought, well, at that time Conrail was running the railroads, so a call was made to Conrail about maybe some rail rambles. We had in mind Lancaster, Harrisburg, and Philadelphia. Well, we called, and they said, it can't be done. The rails today are for freight, not for passengers. It cannot be done. We won't do it. Albert said, wait a minute. He went over to the phone. He was standing right there. I couldn't believe it. He said, he got on the phone. I want to talk to the governor now. And the governor got on the phone. The bottom line is, we ran those 3 rail rambles during that year with $1 million insurance policy. Anyhow, I digress. Many spectacular events occurred during the 1998 event, but perhaps the most memorable was staging Reading's Niagara Falls, pouring over the east side of the Penn Street Viaduct. How many remember that? That was incredible. Luckily, I think there's videotape, I hope, that survived, and there are some still pictures. It's unbelievable. It was like nothing I had ever seen in my life. Mike Reinert from Channel 69, Berks Edition, I think filmed. Mike, is that correct? Does that film survive? Yes. Wonderful. That was incredible. If you've never seen that, you won't believe your eyes. It is that amazing. And it wasn't just a little waterfall, it was big. Anyhow, thousands who were present talked about it endlessly. Still photos of the happening also survive. For the commemorations of 1898, 1923, 1948, and 1998, dedicated musical compositions were presented and printed out for posterity. Reading has always had an official song for whatever celebration it happened to be. Facsimile copies of all the printed music survive in the Berks History Center and in the pages of the Passing Scenes series of books. All are accessible to the general public for inspection and possible presentation. For the record, the first known musical composition celebrating Reading was composed about 1848. A copy survives. Again, for the record, the former Music Club of Reading presented 2 programs dedicated to musical compositions honoring Reading and Berks composers, all performed by Reading and Berks musicians. These were performed and recorded before an overflow live audience at Church of the Good Shepherd, Hinnerschitz's, at Tuckerton. Videotape exists of these performances, which were twice telecast over BCTV. The most extensive record of the past observations survives in the form of a 300-page bound volume compiled by the noted historian Morton L. Montgomery and printed by the Reading Times in 1898. Nothing occurred during that year which was not reported in this fact-laden book. Many copies exist and often appear on eBay. Thank goodness for eBay. And yes, there was a Reading Sesquicentennial March composed for the celebration of Reading's March King, Monroe A. Oldhouse. How many have heard of him, Reading's March King? What does the A stand for? Oldhouse. His mother married a second cousin. But that's a whole other story. Copies survive. Perhaps the most unique event of the 1898 commemoration was the taking of photos overlooking Penn Square using a glass plate camera suspended from a specially constructed kite. I wouldn't believe it possible, but copies of the photographs do exist. Can you imagine? How do you get a heavy view camera, which is critical to focus, on a kite and get pictures that you can look at? But they did it. For the 1923 celebration, no book was prepared, but J.S. Unger wrote a fine Reading's 1948-1923 175th Anniversary March, which is quite good and well worth presenting once again. Copies for the presentation are available. The Ringgold Band played it during the celebration, and chances are good that the band parts survive. As noted, no hardbound book was compared for the 1923 observation, but at least 2 small 4x6 booklets were printed with limited circulation. One was prepared by the Reading Musical Society that saluted local composers and performers. Copies of this book are scarce as the proverbial hen's teeth. Another scarce publication prepared for the 1923 observation is an intriguing 4x6 booklet that was compiled to make locals aware of historical sites within the city of Reading. The points of interest were given a number, and if you went to this site, there was a corresponding number printed on a large plaque in full view. One was at the northwest corner of 6th and Franklin as an early lockup site for criminals and drunks. In 1923, the location was at the local headquarters of the Women's Christian Temperance Union. The building survives in a much altered condition. A number of years ago, there was a tap room in the former WCTU temple. For the 1948 celebration, Reading's bicentennial, the Historical Society of Berks County published 2 Centuries of Reading, 1748 to 1948, a history of the county seat of Berks, compiled by Reverend Raymond W. Albright. This hardbound 257-page compilation was in wide circulation. Copies of it can be found on eBay without difficulty. Like Montgomery's 1898 volume, Albright's 1948 compilation is extensively indexed. Those who were around during the bicentennial of 1948 might recall that much coverage was given to a visit to the city by the mayoress, I had never heard the word mayoress before, by the mayoress of Reading, England, who came to our celebration with congratulations from across the sea. One of the first places city fathers took her was to Whitner's department store. Anyone know why? Yes, yes. To ride the town's first escalator. This event was well embedded in my memory as I was going up to the second floor while the mayoress was coming down. I waved to her and she waved back. It should be noted that not to be completely left behind, Pomeroy's installed its escalator the following year. Some might recall the well-dressed floor walker who stood beside the thing to see that kids didn't ride it up and down all day long. When was the last time you saw a floor walker in Reading? Anyhow, in 1998, Reading celebrated its bicentennial, its 250th anniversary. For this commemoration, 3 musical compositions were prepared. From the River to the Mountain, from the Schuylkill River to Penn's Mound, music by East Side Dave Kleinberg. Is Dave here? Ah, there he is. And with lyrics by Charles J. Adams III. For the 1948 celebration, Jack Shirelli wrote Reading, Willing, and Able, and for 1998 he prepared Bicentennial as the official song for our 250th. At City Hall on Sunday, January the 31st, 1999, the Tulpa Hawkins Singing Choir ended the commemoration with a rendering of Stadt Redden, composed by Helene I. Lutz, especially for our 250th. Of course, it was sung in Pennsylvanisch Deutsch. During the 1998 commemoration, there were many events, too numerous to note at this time, but which are fully detailed in a special section of the Passing Scene Volume 12 on pages 214 to 247. As Volume 12 contained the official record of the commemoration, about 5,000 units were printed to ensure that the events of the time were fully covered and put into print. Copies of Volume 12 can be found in many local libraries and at the Berks History Center, and in personal collections, and of course, on eBay. That's it. Thank you.
Please welcome Wynton Butler, Reading School District, and a local historian. So thank you very much for being here. And also from the council standpoint, we're so proud that your son is our member of Reading City Council.
Thank you, Donna and Councilman Reed. I'm so glad to be here this morning and so proud to be here, but I must correct you. I am here replacing Mr. Frank Gilliard, the president and founder of the Central Pennsylvania African American Museum. And ever since I was told about this, I was thinking about what he would say this morning. And Mr. Miser, I want to tell you, you're a hero. I'm a history teacher, and I've followed you all of my career, and I really appreciate your words. But I will not even pretend to be the historian that Mr. Miser is. But what I want to do is give you one little piece of history, as I would call it, hidden in plain sight. And it's about a man by the name of Bully Lyons. Bully Lyons was a constable in the city of Reading. He was a white man, constable of the city of Reading. He is, I think, the example of Reading's contribution to making this country a more perfect union. What Bully Lyons did that is so critical in history, as we all know, Mr. Gilliard always talked about the Underground Railroad and Reading's contribution to it. He talked about how Washington Presbyterian Church, founded in 1823, was a way station on the Underground Railroad, and how Bethel AME in 1834 opened was a way station. But Bully Lyons actually operated at one of the places that Mr. Miser talked about, at 6th and Franklin. He had the lockup and was in charge of that. And back in those days, they didn't have 900 constables like we have now, but they had a person that was in charge of lockup. And what his contribution to history is, there were some freedom seekers that came through Reading that were trying to get to the north. And Mr. Lyons found out that a fugitive slave gang was out trying to capture folks. And what he did, which was, I think, brilliant, he went and locked those freedom seekers up in a jail at 6th and Franklin. And he said that they were loitering in the city and that they needed to be locked up. And as he heard the intelligence or information about this gang that was about the city, he heard that they had left. And that evening he was at home with his wife, and he said, "Oh my God, I forgot to lock the jail." And those freedom seekers somehow escaped and got to the north. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the stories that our children need to hear. If we want to make sure that the current rage of whitewashing history or destroying history or taking history away, that it doesn't exist, those are the stories that our children need to hear. I heard that story from Frank Gilliard when I one day found my way into Old Bethel AME on 10th Street and just was trying to look at some of the exhibits he had. And he, as he could do so well, had me there for probably 2 hours and telling me stories. But that's one that I will never forget and that my children know. And I think it is our duty to tell our kids these stories. Reading has a million stories like that from all different ethnicities and contributors to what happened in the city. So I don't want to prolong the program, but I thank you for the opportunity of letting Frank Gilliard speak this morning. And I hope that as we go along with this celebration throughout the year, that you will hear his voice even more, not from me, from our young people that also need to share these stories. Thank you and have a great day.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here, and for those who are watching this on BCTV and through the live stream, we're feeling your presence and we're happy that you're a part of us as well. On behalf of the city, I'd like to thank Mike Fucci, Dave Farrar, Mike Ellerman, Hull Convention Center Authority Group for hosting us and for the refreshments we're all enjoying. So thank you very much for doing it. And again, we're in this beautiful, beautiful building, lovingly restored. We have among us Alan Schuman, who's been doing so much for so many of our buildings downtown. We thank you, and we thank all of you who are here because you've all contributed to the city and to our continuing growth. We've been working on putting together this 275th celebration anniversary for the past year or so. Steering committee led by our mayor, Eddie Moran, Council President Jeff Waldman, Marcia Goodman-Hinnershitz, and City Council, Maria Rodriguez, David's been a part of it, Michael, I know I'm missing people, and this is why I hate to, Linda Kelleher, our acting manager director, Frank, I don't know if Frank's here or not, JD representing the city, and JD was once a part of City Hall, so thank you for being a part of it. And if I'm missing anyone, just yell at me because we want everybody to be included. And that's really the point of reference of this celebration is inclusivity. Our board of our city council members, mayor, auditor, we represent the great cross-section and the great diversity of this city. Folks like Jeff and I, our families go back centuries here in Berks County. We have Marcia, her immigrated here from Harrisburg with her family, but she represents the Russian community, which we feel for these days with everything that's going on. Among our other ethnic origins, Germany, Great Britain, Ireland, Italy, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Russia, Dominican Republic, Africa, Puerto Rico, Colombia, France, and many others. We are who Reading is. And from the time I started on council till now, we truly feel proud that we represent the city of Reading. And that's what this celebration is all about. Our Census 2020 data tells us that there are more than 45 nationalities represented in the city of Reading. I would dare say it's probably more than 45. And they go back centuries, like Jeff's and my families do, to folks who within maybe the last year came here. And we might well expect this, Reading has been a refuge for people and a place of opportunity, as the mayor pointed out in his remarks. And I think it's highly likely that this year we will be seeing folks who are escaping the dangers of Afghanistan and Ukraine coming here. And I believe we will all welcome them with open arms and hope that they feel as at home and as welcome in this place, in this beautiful city that we all do. Certainly the diversity of our city is what makes us unique. Our history is well documented. We'll be doing that as a part of this celebration, but the humanity and the diversity of the city is something we can all celebrate. And I think that's the core of the celebration. You'll see that as Laura talks about things and as this emerges. You know, a lot of folks and the challenges that we face maybe don't understand that diversity, looking from the outside in. But we understand it, we live it. And I think what we can do as a part of this anniversary is show compassion to those who outside our boundaries, who don't understand that diversity, and invite them to come in and enjoy it and celebrate it as we do. So this celebration will be by, of, and for the people of Reading, but certainly with the neighborliness that the mayor encourages, welcoming people from outside our boundaries. From toddlers to centenarians, this celebration is theirs. From Hamden Heights to Hessian Camp, from Bear Park to East Reading, 6th Ward to Center Park, south of Penn to Wyomissing Park, Glenside to Oakbrook, from Millmont to Biltmore Street. We are going to shine a light on our neighborhoods. We are each other's neighbors, as the mayor frequently says. So come and see our neighborhoods. Come and see what makes our city special. Walk these historic streets that were first populated by the indigenous folks, and we thank you. Amanda's here. Thank you for representing the indigenous community, to which we all owe a major thank you for seeing first the beauty of this beautiful Schuylkill Valley. So we'll tell the story of Reading, as the mayor said. We welcome everyone to join us, but we will be telling the story of this city, its past, its present, and its hope for the futures in a variety of platforms, from print to virtual, to podcasts, to narratives. We'll be telling the story. We thank Heather Adams is here from BCTV, playing a big role in helping us plan out how the storytelling will occur in the year to come. So we welcome our partners from far and wide. We hope that in the next year, we'll see members of delegations from our sister cities. Mayor Tom, I'm looking at you, Roylingen, and Mayor Eddie, your hometown in Puerto Rico. Hopefully we'll have the mayor from there coming up. But we also look to reinvigorate, and I'm looking at JD and Linda, to reinvigorate our relationship with Reading United Kingdom. George might pull you into helping with that. And having the mayoress, it is a mayoress again over there, hoping she'll be joining us. And we also do have a sister city in Changzhou, China. So that may be something we might want to explore. Frank Dombowski has made that point, and I think it's well made. We'll also partner, Chris Winters is here, noted that, where are you, Chris? There he is. Noted that this is the upcoming 125th anniversary of the Olivets. So we'll partner with people and join together as we celebrate our 275th, celebrating the major anniversaries of nonprofits, businesses, and family groups. Next year marks the 313th anniversary of Conrad Weiser coming to America, and the Weiser Family Association is looking to have some celebrations about that. So that should be interesting. And our county commissioner, Christian Leinbach, his family traces their roots back to Germany, and they celebrate their 300th anniversary in America next year. So we'll be partnering with all the Leinbachs, and there's a whole lot of them out there. And I like to think that when they came over, they were saying hi to some of the Waltmans, some of the Hinterschitzes, some of the Reeds, some of the Schlegels, all the names we know. And you know, that way back when our ancestors knew each other. So anyhow, as we look to celebrate this, we look to the future. Frank Dombowski, who's our acting managing director and who's really actually a pretty skilled family historian himself, and I'm sure he's shared those stories, Mayor. Early on, as a part of the steering committee, he said it's as important to look to the future and have our youth lead this as it is for us to look to the past. They're equally important. So we look to the Youth Commission, and we look We look to Councilman Wesley Butler, the youngest councilman ever in the city of Reading. We look to his leadership to bring the youth together, and I would also acknowledge Jahani Cepeda Freitas, our council vice president, who has worked with the Youth Commission, as has Marcia worked with the Recreation Commission. Daphne will look to the kids there to lead the way as well. So to that end, I'd like to introduce someone younger, who is Laura Reppert. Almost everybody's younger these days. Laura Reppert, our coordinator. A lot of you know Laura. She's been working actively in the downtown. She's been working with Cindy Kastner. Cindy is, of course, the daughter of our former and late mayor, Joe Kuzminski. But Laura's been working very strongly with Cindy, and we are happy to have brought her on board as our 275th coordinator. She brings a lot of energy to this, and I'd like to introduce her and have her speak. So Laura, here she is. I also quickly want to acknowledge Lisa Haggerty. Lisa, we remember Warren and all the good work he did, so thank you, and Mayor Tom, of course.
Thank you, Donna. Hello, welcome everyone. I'm Laura Reppert. If you don't know me, now you know me. I am so honored and excited to be a part of Reading's 275th celebration. I think this might be my dream job. I grew up here in Reading. I graduated from Reading High School, and I've moved away many times, but I always come back here because I really love Reading. I would say that Reading is my Heimat, as the Germans would say, if you know this word. It's the place where your soul, where you really feel at home, and that is Reading for me. There are nearly 95,000 of us who call Reading our home, and we're a diverse bunch from different backgrounds that we're all brought together by this physical place, this city. And next year is going to be a big year for this city. It's our bicentenary. We're all gonna have to learn that word. It's a rough one. 275 years. And next year we're gonna celebrate those 275 years and the diversity of the city in a really big way. We've begun to plan what some of these celebrations may be, but in order to properly mark this milestone, we want more voices at the table. We've invited you all here today to help ensure that everyone is heard. In the coming weeks, we're going to be working and laying out some of our plans. We'll be forming committees, we'll be starting to lay out the framework of the year and the events that we're going to hold, and we'll be gathering stories and support. And our hope is that you will all join us in doing this. We do have a few things in the works though already, and I've got lots and lots of ideas, but I have to make sure to reel myself in. And some of the things that we're certainly working on are going to happen are, we're going to start this fall by planting flower bulbs all over our city. Reading is a really beautiful place with lots of green spaces, and it's unique for a city, and we have a river, and we have a mountain. So we want to celebrate those green spaces and make our city really beautiful, so next spring it comes to life. We're also going to be working on some different publications and media projects to tell the story of Reading, and that's where we'd like the involvement of the community to make sure we get the stories out of the people that live here. And the real festivities are going to kick off on New Year's Eve with a celebration downtown and citywide. And then March 16th, 1 year from today, we will be having a citywide celebration, and we're going to be working with the schools to mark our official 275th birthday. And we're also bringing a parade back. George, you talked about the kids parade. That is one of our goals, to bring a parade back to include all of the children, because it's really, we want to celebrate all the people who come here and the past of our city and the present, but we also want to look towards the future. And including the youth is one of the ways to do that, to instill sort of pride in them as well. To make all of these things possible, we're working with the Berks County Community Foundation. They've set up a Happy Birthday Reading Fund. We also are setting up a page on the website, which I believe Christian will tell us is live today, where you can find information. And there'll be a form there as well where you can sign up for different things. So if you're interested in joining one of the committees, if you'd like to volunteer for an event, if you have an idea for an event, if your organization hosts an event already that you'd like to co-brand and work with us together with for the 275th, or if you'd like to show your support, there'll be ways to tell you how to do that. Actually, in all of these tables here, there's a little card and has the information about the website, and there's a code there which will take you directly to the website. So, those are our plans thus far, and I'm excited to be working with all of you, and thank you again for putting me in this position. It's very exciting. And now, our next part, is that okay, Donna? Yes? Okay. To talk a little bit about our city in a very poetic way, Anthony Orozco is going to come up here.
Thank you. So I was invited here as Berks County Poet Laureate to share a love letter to Reading, which I've written many, and also appears in this book, Penn Street, City of Poems, which is an anthology of modern poets who live in the city or who admire the city. It's more than 75 modern poets, not just Wallace Stevens and John Updike. We have people who are living and breathing poetry in this city today. And my poem appears in it as well. And I have a quick question for everybody. Does anybody here ride a bicycle in the city? Are there some cyclists here? I see a couple of hands, and I've seen you out there. And I'm sure if you drive in the city, you've seen cyclists in the city. And it's a thrilling experience for everyone involved. And there is, in the summer, there's a group of kids that I saw, and I have a soft spot for misfits and mischief as well. And these kids dazzle me with the tricks that they do, even though sometimes it's quite dangerous. But following them and seeing them and going through the back alleyways of the city, I got to see a lot of life here. And hopefully this poem captures it as a map and a love letter. And it's called The Boys Who Pop Wheelies on Bikes Without Brakes. And it goes, catch us if you can, if you dare. If you want to blow past this stop sign like us, like me, like no helmet, no hand signals, no carbon fiber frame, no spandex and highlighter yellow, no reflection, protection, or discretion as I go through this intersection full of steel and pedestrians. My front wheel popped, straight up like 12 o'clock, like midnight, catch us mid-flight, cruising through red lights with flagrants. Broken glass glinting on black pavement, I soar on a clear night sky, hurling exclusively the wrong way down one-ways. I'm a runaway slave who repurposed their chain. Used to be an underground rail, now only Washington and Court detour us over the train. Everything is in transit, including humans, and I am loyal only to the movement, a fearless forward toward the drinking gourd, regardless of, and sometimes in opposition to, the laws of traffic and laws of survival. Drivers assume that we must be suicidal, but it just takes more for us to feel afraid, to feel alive, to feel. You know, the first people to fly were cyclists, and it's one of the few things that actually makes sense anymore. My nose is up, my wings are out, air 90 pounds per square inch under me, and I feel lift without gas, and neighborhood florists push their own pedals in high fashion, designer leather but no seatbelts to fasten. My nose is up, my wings are out, and I feel like I could spring from spring to canal. And the road is an unclear runway for takeoff, and boom, my wheel is up like 12 o'clock, like noon, like putting on a show, midday matinee. In the pothole thoroughfare and in the brick-laid, out-of-the-way alleyways, where meticulous masonry is now warped like wet wood is. What has been spilled here to turn these straight paths crooked? Roots shoot through the mortars like pistols, and now they say the trees are detrimental to the streets. Well, they tried to bury us and forgot we were a fistful of seeds. What I'm trying to say is new things take hold and disrupt structure. The ground swells and the rupture's organic. We take to the streets because the sidewalks are manic, jagged, unruly urban teeth that grin even when people tell us that we are reprehensible, that we should be scared or miserable. But we know that space is physical and time is bicyclical. Only so long until we end up back here, balanced on our back wheel, for a moment lighter than the sick relatives in rent that rest on our shoulders for a moment. We don't have to think, just react for a moment, defiantly joyful, even at the threat of injury, like ending up in or on the hood of an enemy. But staying alive and happy is the biggest muscle I can flex. And that's saying something, because I have legs like pistons, like t-shirt and one pant leg missing. The dance with danger is the same old two-step. The beat is contagious. We are just cogs in the transmission. Like a hospital, health risk is the cost for admission. Row home windows like prisons are gated, houses like cages. We learn to handle bars. This 21-speed mechanism helps me escape it. My nose is lifted, my wings are open, and I give praise, thankful for the humble miracle of not getting hit today, the small blessing of making it home in peace. I am not oblivious to the privilege in fighting up a steep hill, drenched in the glow of red neon, like dripping in sweat, like steam rising off my body, like gasping for air. Thank you.
I'd like to ask the members of the steering committee to come up, and Christian, I'll let you take care of everything.
Carlos gonna help me. Carlos gonna help me.
Okay, I'll help you.
No? I think this is state. Let me do something. I was gonna just detach this so we don't have to rip the whole tape. Thank you.
And we'd like to thank Christian Crespo. Christian, don't be shy. Christian and Laura played a major role in putting this logo together. This will be the branding logo. Reading, our heart, our home, 1748, 2023. Please feel free to work with Linda, with Laura and Christian to brand your events and carry it on your website. We want to show the world that we're happy. 200, almost 275 years old, 274 today. So please join us, please be our partners, and please celebrate in the city of Reading. Thank you for being here.
I also want to thank Salmari's Creations. Salmari is a local business here in Reading, right on 5th and Walnut, and she has generously set all of this up for us as her donation to the festivities. So.
Is there anybody, Linda, JT, before any parties or anything after that? We always have shy people in the back.
Too many cameras, thank you.
Please enjoy. Have some